Hello, everyone. I'm very happy that you've returned to my channel. In the previous episode, after months of separation, after misunderstandings, after the emptiness that once seemed impossible to fill,
Hoài Ca
finally made her way back to her family, back to the people she had always carried in her heart. And in that very moment, there was no more distance, no more unspoken words, only reunion. After everything, what Hoài Ca received was not material things, not something that could be measured, but family love. Yet, amid that warmth, a decision was made. Her mother quietly prepared, quietly thought things through, and, in the end, she handed over to Hoài Ca her share of assets, not because she didn't need them, not because she wanted to create distance, but because she wanted to make up for the past, to make up for the years Hoài Ca had endured, to make up for the losses that perhaps nothing could ever truly replace. In that moment, no one spoke much, no one rushed, only their eyes, and the silence said everything. Hoài Ca stood there for a very long time, looking at what her mother gave her, not to weigh its value, but to feel the love behind it. And then she accepted it, not because she needed it, but because she understood that if she didn't, her mother wouldn't feel at peace. But what moved everyone the most was not that she accepted it, but how she spoke, gently, yet firmly. She would keep it not to spend, not to change her own life, but to, one day, use it to take care of her mother in return. A circle of love, with no pressure,
no calculation,
just simply giving and receiving with all sincerity. The whole family couldn't hold back their emotions. There were tears, not from sadness, but because, at last, everything felt more complete. But life never stops at a single moment. Just as everything began to settle, just as the emotions had yet to fade, another door opened. An opportunity not everyone gets. A path that, if taken,
could change so many things.
Her older brother Long, the one who had been away for so long, the one who struggled in a foreign land, day by day, month by month, saving and preparing for something, not just for himself, but for the family. He returned, not with fancy words, but with a clear plan, a future carefully thought out, a new environment, more stable, with greater opportunities. And in that plan, there was Hoài Ca. He looked at his younger sister, his eyes filled not only with hope, but with trust. "Come over there," he said slowly, but firmly. "I will take care of your education. In the future, you can work, have a better life." That wasn't a vague promise, not a distant dream, but something he had prepared, something ready. Every word, not loud, yet it made the atmosphere in the house change. No longer as light as before, no more laughter mixed with emotion, but a deep stillness. Everyone understood. This was no longer simple, not just a trip,
but a choice.
A choice that could bring a better future, but also could, once again, create distance. Hoài Ca's mother
sat there.
She didn't speak right away. She looked at her daughter for a long time. In her eyes, there was joy. Joy because her child finally had a chance to change her life, to step into a bigger world, to leave behind the hardships. But behind that joy was worry, a worry that couldn't be spoken. She had once lost her child, had once lived through days of waiting, and now, just after finding her again, she had to face the possibility of losing her once more. Silence covered the entire house. No one spoke. No one urged. No one dared to give a clear opinion, because everyone understood. This decision, only Hoài Ca
Could make.
and in that very moment, all eyes turned to her. On one side was family, which she had just regained, warmth, a love beyond replacement. On the other side was the future, opportunity, a new path. Not everyone gets. Between the two, there was no right or wrong, only what her heart truly wanted.
Hoài Ca still sat there.
No longer the hurried words, no longer the impulsive reactions from before. What remained was a long silence. But it was not emptiness. It was when every thought was gathering, layering over one another, impossible to separate. She understood very clearly that this opportunity was not something everyone could have, not something that always comes, and not something people are always ready to receive it. It was a path, wider, more stable, less uncertain compared to what she had been through. But the more she understood, the heavier her heart became, because she also knew if she chose to go, nothing would be the same again. It wasn't just a short trip, not a temporary departure and return, but a change that could last a very long time. And that meant she would have to leave behind what she had just found again, leave the people she had only just reconnected with, leave her mother, the one who had waited for her for so many years, the one who now only needed to see her every day
to feel happiness.
Leave her family, where every glance, every word carried the care she once thought she would never receive again. And leave Hùng. Just that thought alone was enough to make her heart sink.
Hoài Ca sợ ghê.
Slowly shifted, not in a hurry, not avoiding, but searching for a place where she knew she would find an answer. She looked at Hùng. He was still sitting there, unchanged. No obvious expression. He didn't interrupt the conversation, didn't give any advice. Just a presence, quiet, yet enough for her to feel. His eyes,
calm, no visible worry.
No attempt to hold her back. No push for her to move forward. Just looking at her. A look that needed no words. No pressure. No forcing her toward any direction. And then, he gave a slight nod. Very gently. Almost unnoticeable. But Hoài Ca felt it clearly. It wasn't just agreement, nor was it letting go. It was a way of saying that he understood. Understood what she was facing. Understood how difficult this choice was. And more than anything, it was respect. Whatever she chose, whatever path lay ahead, he would still be there. Not to decide for her, but to stand behind her and support her. That only made it harder for her to choose. Because if he had stopped her, she might have easily stayed. If he had pushed her, she might have forced herself to go. But he did nothing. Created no restraint. Placed no pressure on her. Simply let her decide. And that freedom made her heart even heavier. That night, everything became quiet. No more conversations. No more questioning glances. No more visible emotions. Only silence remained. But within that silence, Hoài Ca couldn't sleep. She lay there, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. There was no sound, but in her mind, everything kept moving. Countless thoughts kept appearing, layering over one another, pulling further and further, with no end. On one side was the future, a clearer future, more stable, less risky, a path that, if taken, might free her from worries, might spare her from the hardships she once endured. On the other side was love. Not grand words, Not distant promises, but something real. Her mother's gaze, her family's care, simple moments that made her feel she belonged. And Hùng, the one who didn't say much, but was always there, never needed to show it, yet always made her feel safe. On one side was opportunity, a rare chance that could change her entire life. A door that, if missed, might never appear again. On the other side was family, the place she had just found again, after so many years apart, where each passing day carried a warmth she once lacked. Both sides, neither was wrong, neither was less important, and neither was easy to let go. She turned, closed her eyes, but couldn't sleep, because the more she tried to stop, the clearer those thoughts became. Everything seemed to be waiting for a decision that a calmness that had been chosen. She stood there, looking at her mother, her gaze lingering for a long time. No words were needed, yet it felt like she wanted to remember every moment of being close. Then she looked at her brother, the one who had brought her an opportunity, a new path that anyone could wish for. And finally, her eyes stopped at Hùng. No need to search long.
No question.
Just one look. She already knew
What she wanted to say.
Her voice rose, soft but clear, not trembling, not hesitant, but firm. I won't go. Just one sentence, but enough to make the space in the room
Freeze.
Not a single sound followed. No one spoke right away. Silence covered everything. Long, stood still, not because he didn't understand, but because he understood too well. Understood that to say those words, his sister had thought so much. Hoài Ca's mother was also surprised. Her eyes slightly trembled, as if she hadn't expected the answer to come so quickly. But then, no one spoke to stop her. No one rushed to persuade, because everyone could feel this was not a sudden decision, but something carefully considered for a long time. Hoài Ca continued, her voice still gentle, but her eyes more determined. I know this is a very good opportunity. Each word, spoken slowly, not to explain, but to help everyone understand. But I just found my family again. She paused for a moment, as if to feel it more clearly herself. I don't want to be apart again, not out of fear, not avoidance, but a very real desire to stay, to live close to the people she loves. And then, a brief silence before she continued, and she turned slightly toward Hùng. Her eyes met his, as if finding strength. Her voice
Softened.
slightly choked. I also don't want to leave the person I love. That sentence, not loud, not dramatic, yet it touched everyone present. No one spoke. No one interrupted. But everyone understood. Understood that this was not just a refusal,
But a choice.
a choice made not only by logic, but from deep within her heart. From everything she had been through, from everything she had just found again, and from what she treasured most. Long, still stood there, not reacting immediately, just a few seconds of silence, but within that short moment were countless thoughts. And finally, he smiled gently, a smile not entirely complete, a little regret, because that opportunity would not always return. But more than that was understanding. He didn't ask further, didn't try to change her decision, because he knew what mattered most was not which path was better, but which path made his sister happy. I respect your decision. His voice lowered,
But warm.
as long as you're happy, that's enough. No more words, but that was enough. Enough for Hoài Ca to understand that even if she didn't follow the path he had prepared, his love for her would never change. The days after that passed faster than usual, and then the day of departure arrived. The whole family went to the airport together. No more heavy atmosphere like before, no more suppressed emotions, only a mixture of joy and something quietly lingering. Hoài Ca's mother held Long's hand tightly. Her words of advice came one after another. Every sentence, every word was filled with care. Though he had grown up, though he was mature, in his mother's eyes, he was still her child, someone to worry about. Hoài Ca stood beside them, quietly watching. Her gaze followed her brother, the one who had searched for her for more than 20 years. Not an easy journey, a persistence not everyone could have. "I'm going now," Long said. His voice softened. No longer the certainty when speaking of the future,
but emotion.
"Take care of Mom." He paused, as if wanting to say more. "And I'll live happily." Not just advice, but his greatest wish for his sister.
Hoài Ca note that.
Didn't say much, just a nod, but it held everything. Tears quietly fell, not from sadness, but because she knew, even if distance might appear again, this time they would not lose each other. "Don't worry," her voice was soft but certain. "I'm here." A promise, a continuation, so he could move forward without worrying about what was left behind. Hung stood beside her, didn't interrupt, didn't say much, just gently placed his hand on her shoulder. A very small gesture, but in that moment, it carried so much meaning. No need for promises, no need for words, just his presence was enough for Hoài Ca to feel that from now on, she would not have to face everything alone, that her choice to stay was not a sacrifice, but a different beginning, a new journey, but this time with the people she loves right by her side. The airplane slowly rolled along the runway, gradually but steadily. The distance between it and the ground grew shorter and shorter until it became just a tiny in the vast sky, carrying along with it, carrying unfinished plans, carrying an entire journey that he had prepared for so many years, and also carrying a part of the memories that had just been reconnected after more than 20 years apart. Moments of reunion, the looks of recognition, the times they called each other family, seemingly simple, yet incredibly precious. All of it, now, had gone with him, leaving this place. But what remained was not emptiness, not the silence of separation, but something else. A family, now truly complete. No more empty gaps, no more unanswered questions, no more silent waiting that stretched endlessly, but presence. People standing beside one another, right at this moment. Hoài Ca stood there, in the crowded airport. Footsteps, announcements over the speakers, conversations all around. Everything continued as usual. People kept moving, kept rushing, caught in the endless rhythm of life. But in that moment, she felt everything slow down, no longer swept along by the surroundings, no longer affected by the noise, only herself and her emotions. A very strange feeling, gentle but clear, not emptiness, not regret, but peace. A peace from within, not loud, not overwhelming, but enough for her to feel that she had made her choice and accepted it. She didn't run after that plane, didn't stare at it in despair, didn't try to hold on to something that had just left, because she understood some things don't need to be held, yet still remain. Some relationships don't need closeness, yet are never truly distant. She knew she had chosen right. Not the easiest path, not the one already prepared, not the place where everything was certain, but a path that her heart chose. A place where each passing day, she could see the people she loved, feel the closeness, life, not for a distant future, but for the present. A present that had meaning, a present that felt complete. Hung still stood beside her, saying nothing, not asking if she regretted it, not bringing up what had just happened, just being there, naturally, as if, at some point, his presence had become something indispensable. Hoài Ca slowly turned to look at him. Her eyes no longer held hesitation. No more unanswered questions. Only certainty. She didn't need to say it, but he understood. Understood that her decision was not giving up,
but a choice.
A choice to put love above opportunity, to place connection above change. And because of that, it was not light, but heavy, and yet worth it. The two of them said nothing more, but the distance between them seemed to grow closer, not through words, but through understanding. The airport gradually returned to its normal rhythm. People continued moving, flights kept taking off, goodbyes and reunions happened every day. No one knew. In some quiet corner, there was a girl who had just made a decision that could change her entire life. But for Hoài Ca, that no longer mattered most, because what mattered, she already had her answer. She didn't choose the easiest path, but she chose the path that made her happiest. However, the road ahead has never been a straight line. Choosing Ave to face next, when love has been placed above all, will it be strong enough to overcome everything? The answer still lies ahead. Stay tuned for the next episode to find out.
Xin chào mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến với mọi người video về câu chuyện của Hoài Ca và Hùng nha mọi người. Cảm ơn mọi người rất nhiều vì đã theo dõi và ủng hộ cho video của mình. Hôm nay thì trong tập hôm nay mọi người cũng xem thì mọi người cũng có thể thấy là anh trai và mẹ Hoài Ca thì cũng chỉ muốn tốt cho cô, muốn cô có một cuộc sống tốt hơn. Anh muốn đưa cô ra nước ngoài để học tập cũng như là để làm việc. Nhưng mà Hoài Ca thì cuối cùng đã từ chối. Vậy thì liệu diễn biến tiếp theo sẽ ra sao? Hãy cùng đón xem tập sau để biết thêm diễn biến nha mọi người. Cảm ơn mọi người rất nhiều vì đã xem video của mình. Bây giờ thì mình đang chọn một tấm ảnh để có thể làm ảnh khung. Tạm biệt mọi người, hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở video sau.